attention. We saved a place for you right here. We're going to talk about Sarah today. This is Turnaround Tuesday, so we're doing another woman out of the Bible, another wife of the Bible. Today I have my little friend Emily with me. She is a member of our writers group, and she's a young writer, which makes me so proud of her. She's writing a book. She's only 14. She didn't want me to tell you that. But she'll soon be 15. But she started her book, I think, when she was 12 years old. Can you believe that? So she is not like Sarah that we're going to talk about today, because Sarah was a late bloomer, and she did her good things late in life. Well, the biggest problem that Sarah had, to me, that I think about was a problem, was moving. And Sarah was going to have to move because God had spoken to her husband Abram. And God told Abram to go away from your father's house, leave it. Leave your country, your home country, and go to a land that I will tell you. And so Sarah, being his wife, she had to just pull up roots and go with Abram and follow God's voice. We'll talk about why did God tell them to leave. And the main reason that I see that God told them to leave was because Abram's father worshipped other gods, and so did the whole household. So did the people in that area. In fact, in that area, they had a temple to the god of sin. And that's not where I want to live, and I hope not where you want to live. So we'll talk about that a little bit. And then we're going to talk about moving and what it's like to move. Now, Emily is about to start another journey of moving. How many times have you already moved, Emily?
I have moved, I think, 4 times.
Okay, so she said it had averaged out about every 2 or 3 years she's moved. I've moved almost that often as well.
Every 2 to 4 years. Every 2 to 4 years we would get stationed somewhere else. My dad is in the military. So, and we never had to leave, well, in my lifetime, we never had to leave the States.
Where were you born?
I was born in Japan. I was born in Yokosuka, Japan. And then whenever I was 2, I think, 2 or 3, we moved to, I want to say Jacksonville. And
Probably.
I lived there for, I lived there till I was about 5 or 6, and then I moved to Fort Walton Beach, Florida, and stayed there for 4 years. Then I moved up here whenever I was 10 or 11, and so now I'm here, and I'm about to be moving to Lakeland, so that's fun.
She's looking forward to the move in some ways, but moving's hard. It was always hard for me to leave my good friends because I love people, and I always loved every place that I lived, and she's the same way. She's a people person, and it's hard to leave our friends. Are you going to miss them?
Yes, a lot. When I moved here, I was kind of like the odd one out because, I'm a new kid, and which you're pastor's daughter, you would know, moving around a lot, being a new kid a lot. But got here and I was the new kid, the oddball out, and I went to school for 1 year, and then I get homeschooled for a year, so I didn't get a lot of social interaction, and I was about to go crazy. But and joined band, made some friends, and now I'm really not looking forward to leaving from that aspect.
Yes. So she not only plays the piano, that she started playing. How old were you when you started playing the piano?
I was 4.
She's been playing, that's why she plays so well. But she also plays the saxophone in the band at school. So she's just a very talented person, multi-talented, very smart child. Well, teenager. Now, I told you that I've moved 40 times, and we moved from Miami, Florida, where it was warm and nice climate, to Minneapolis, Minnesota, where it was so cold. It was just like below freezing all the time nearly. We only had like 1 week of summer, it felt like, and that was the week of the 4th of July. And other than that 1 week where it was very hot, we had cool weather. which the Minnesotans love. And I grew accustomed to it and liked it because I got ice skates for Christmas and we were privileged to go ice skating. But when we moved from there, we went all the way to Phoenix, Arizona, which was totally changed and different, where it was so hot you could fry an egg on the sidewalk. And from there we moved to that dry climate. We moved to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, where it rained almost every day. And then from Baton Rouge I moved to Tennessee, where my mom sent me to Lee Academy and in Cleveland, Tennessee, and I was there a while. Then I met my husband, married him, and then we started moving, and we've moved in a number of different places as well. And altogether, I've lived in 40, up to 44 different houses or apartments or trailers or church rooms, Sunday school rooms, or you name it, and I've lived there. Well, Sarah lived with the change, not only with her moving, but she also lived with change because God changed her name. Do you like your name? Have you always liked your name? It's okay?
Actually, no. I've always wanted my name to be Elizabeth.
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth. I always thought Elizabeth was the coolest name because, as a nickname, go find any girl that is named Elizabeth. Their nickname is Liz. I've always thought that was the coolest nickname. I've always wanted to change my name to Elizabeth, and my parents refused to.
Well, I always wanted to change my name too because my parents named me a boy's name. They named me after John Wayne, and I'm not a boy, and I've never liked being named Johnny. I've picked out so many names: Joanne, Darla, just a lot of anything that sounds feminine would be better than Johnny. But Sarah's name, let's talk a little bit about Sarah's name. Sarah's name meant dominative. She liked to dominate people. Before God changed her and before He changed her name, she liked to be in control. Do you like to control things? Have you ever thought about it?
It depends. It just depends on the situation. Like there's sometimes in band, I probably shouldn't say this on camera, but I'm going to. There's sometimes in band where, like, I write the music, I compose a little bit for the band, and there are times when they won't play the music right, and I'm kind of over in my corner and and they all ask for the band director, and I'm just sitting in the corner going, I wrote the music, can help you, and I try and be a little more assertive and kind of try and take control of the situation, and they just kind of blow me off, so I pretty much got to the point I don't even care anymore.
Well, some people have controlling personalities, and we don't want it to get overbearing so that we have to control everything around us and control the people around us. And I think that Sarah may have been a little bit like this before God changed her, before she was willing to move and go with Abraham. And God changed his name from Abraham, which meant exalted father, or from Abram, which meant exalted father, to Abraham, which means father of a multitude. But Sarah's name was changed, Sarai, which means dominative, or someone that likes to be in control and command and overbearing. He changed her name to Sarah, which means a queen. And when she took her position as a queen to Abraham, she allowed him to be the head of the house. She allowed him to be the leader. And during that time is when she respected Abraham so much that she called him Lord even. And I think that respect is one of the most important things in a marriage between husband and wife that we can do. I know that you have a lot of respect for older people and for your parents. And her parents are a little bit strict, which I think is wonderful. I give them super excellent marks for that, for being a strict parent, because they've raised an extremely good person. She's going to use her talents for God, and even though they're strict, she honors them. She respects them. I've heard her apologize if she caused them to even worry for a few minutes. And that's just a good quality in a person. And Sarah had that quality. She didn't at first. I think she had to learn that quality, and God had to make that change in her. And whatever your you are facing today in your marriage or in your home, or if you're facing changes that you don't want to do, then let God help you with it. He can change you and your attitude. You know, before Sarah was changed, and even maybe after she was changed, she tried to control things because she got impatient when she didn't have the son that God said she was going to have, and she didn't have it when she thought she should have had it. It had been at least 10 years, and she didn't have that son. And so she took it into her own hands, and she told Abraham to have the son with a maid or with their servant. And because she did that, Ishmael was born to this servant girl. And there's been wars ever since between her son that she did finally have when she believed God. Isaac was her son, and there's been war ever since between Ishmael's people and Isaac's people. Even today, they've been at war. So we want to obey God and not try to control everything, not try to take things in our own hands and say, well, I'm going to do it this way. God's just being too slow to answer this need or to work this out for me, so I'm going to work it out myself. But let's not do that. Let's change our name to Sarah, where we will be a queen and we will take our place in the home as the queen of the home and honor our husband and respect him and let him lead and be the leader and follow him wherever he feels that God wants him to go.
And not to kind of take away from the main point, but it kind of goes to show you how like small scale we are, right? Like Sarah got impatient with God to send her a son, so she told Abraham to go lie with a servant, and the servant had a son, had Ishmael. Well, to Sarah, it was just, she had a kid, oh well, it'll grow up, it'll die, and then all will be well, like after she got her kid. But, like, to her, it was just kind of something, like, small, wasn't really that important. And then look, like, thousands of years later, and it's two whole countries at war with each other.
Yes, and we understand about that because we have lost some of our young men that have gone to fight because of the division there between these two sons. So
but it really kind of, like, when you start to take matters into your own hands, I feel like that, to me anyway, that's kind of going to stick in my mind whenever I start to do something. I'm going to be like, you know what, I don't know if that's a good idea.
Good lesson to learn. Some of the things we can learn then from Sarah is that sometimes God calls us away from our family so that we may complete His work. And I have done that. I had the opportunity when I was younger, before my husband started in the ministry, I had the opportunity to run a business in North Carolina. And this woman was going to train me to take over her business. But I knew that my husband was called to preach, and if he was called, I was called too. And I would rather do that than to run a business. And so I turned it down, and we went into the ministry. And I've written a book about our first years in the ministry. You'll want to read it because I tell all. It's called The Kid's Daughter, the Preacher's Wife. And we were shot at that first little church. Someone tried to put a curse on us. Our first child was born there. We got into a few arguments, and you'll want to get in on all the fun.
I was there when she was writing that book. I heard every story in that book, and it's a really good book, so you should go get it.
Thank you. Now, what are some of these lessons that we can learn? You pick one.
Change isn't always bad. That one stands out to me more. Whenever I moved from Jacksonville to Fort Walton Beach, I had one friend that was really close, and we don't hardly ever talk anymore. But whenever I moved, I was all kinds of upset because I was losing the one friend I had. Moved to Fort Walton Beach, and for a little bit I didn't have any friends, and then I got two. And we were really close. And then I moved. I lived there for 4 years, and then I moved here, and I was and like I didn't remember hardly anything from Jacksonville. I remember leaving, and I remember how upset I was that I was leaving my best friend. And even when I lived there, the whole 4 years I've been there, even though I couldn't remember a lot of Jacksonville, I still remember being, like, I would sit on my bed and cry because I missed my friend from from Jacksonville. Well, I moved here, and I went out again, and never really talked to my friends from Fort Walton. And then I joined band, and I have a whole group of friends. I have a whole, dare I say, whole band of friends, and now I'm moving again, and I have some really, really close friends here. I have one in particular that's in my head right now. He actually lives down the road, but really close friends, really good friendships, and I'm moving again. But whenever I would leave from one place to another, when I went from Jacksonville to Fort Walton, I lost one friend, and then I got two. And then I left Fort Walton to here, and I left two friends and got like 30.
Bunch.
I don't even know how many people are in band. A good number, at least 20. And now I'm moving there. I'm moving from there to go to Lakeland, and goodness knows how, if it keeps multiplying at this rate, goodness knows how many friends I'm gonna have over there. But I guess what I'm trying to say is, if I had stayed in the same place for too long, I would have missed out on all the stuff that came after. Like, had I just stayed in Jacksonville, yes, I would have kept my friend and stayed there for a good long time, but I would have missed out on all the friends since then that mean so much to me. So
Yeah, so change is not always bad. That's one of the things we can learn from this woman, Sarah. Tell them about your jacket. What's this jacket?
I have a Letterman jacket. I got this last Tuesday, and I have always wanted one of these, so it makes me so happy. But
it's from band, right?
It's from band. It's I didn't know they gave these out in band, but apparently they do. Got it in band, and when the band director, we call him Papa, when Papa gave me the jacket, he handed it to me, and he said, "Just so you'll cry that much more after you leave, just so you'll cry for leaving us. Here's the jacket." And even when I haven't taken it. The only time I have taken this jacket off for since Tuesday was to go to sleep and take showers. That's it. I wear this thing everywhere, and
she's proud of your jacket.
I'm very proud of my jacket, and there's not a lot of sentiment in this jacket just because of where I got it. So
yeah, let's see what we can get from this. That the spiritual gem, the main spiritual gem, is that just as Sarah had to leave all, and just as Emily has to leave all of her friends here to follow her husband, Sarah had to follow her husband, not Emily.
I have to follow my dad. It's the same thing.
Yeah. We must leave all to follow Jesus Christ. And that's one of the main things we can learn. We have to leave all the gods of this world and commit to the one true God. And that's why God told Abraham to leave was to leave all those gods, the false gods that he and his father had been worshiping. And God has called us out of the darkness into the marvelous light of his Son. We're going to wrap up the Bible lesson with that. We're so glad that you stopped in today and listened to us and saw my friend Emily, and God bless you. Next week we're going to, even though the book will end next week, we'll do the last lesson, and then after that we're going to study Leah. I'm starting a new book on Wives of the Bible. Bye.